When is he gonna get here? Beware the cyborg. What the hell's wrong with you, man? Cue the intro. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Aaron coming to you live from Studio 146.
Yep.
And we are here. First of all, I want to apologize for that little episode I had, but it has to do with the movie. It has to do with the movie. Our number one spot. This is it, people. Thank you for joining us on this great journey. Our number one spot is none other than Treasure Planet. Treasure Planet. Yes, great. And I know a lot of you guys are thinking like, what? Who? What movie? Like, I know a lot of you have not heard of this movie at all, and that is why it's number one. My own homeboy. He's on behind the camera right now. Ito. I told him we're going to talk about Treasure Planet today. He's like, what movie is that? He's never seen it ever. He's never even heard of it. But hey.
Blasphemy!
So
let's jump into it.
Let's jump into it. This movie came out back in November 27th, 2002. It had a budget of $140 million. Yeah. But it bombed at the box office. It only made $109.6 million. And plus, it's reported it was around a $74 million loss for Disney. Now, obviously, you guys are thinking, like, what? Why though? Like, why would it bomb so hard if this movie is deserving of number one? Why did it bomb so hard? Well, we're going to get into that later. But for now, let's get into it right away. First thing that I want to point out, the animation is just...
Yeah, it's on point.
Spot on. It's amazing. It's a perfect blend. They took, the original style, the hand-drawn 2D animation, and they blended it well. And they blended it well with the 3D animation. Yeah. In some aspects they use 3D, and in others it was hand-drawn. Yeah. And it looks so beautiful, and it works so well together, and it holds up pretty well till this day. You go back and watch it, and it's not bad. You notice the difference,
but it's not like out there. It's good.
Definitely. And then the plot, like the story, I mean, pirates in space. Like, at first, when you hear that, you kind of think, like, what? How would that work? Like, that doesn't make no sense. But they made it work. Yes. And it worked so great, so beautifully. And now, going deeper into the plot, the characters are amazing. Yes. I love the characters. First of all, the protagonist, Jim, he's great.
Voiced by the great Joseph Gordon-Levitt, by the way.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, my boy, before people knew him. And then there's also Mr. Silver, who's the antagonist, the cyborg that I was warning you about. Yeah. Which Billy Bones is the character in the movie who warns young Jim, and he's trying to keep this treasure away from him. Yeah. And I like how they keep the secrecy. Definitely the tension, the thrill. Like, you don't know what is going on in that scene. In the beginning where they're raiding the restaurant. And they have to escape. What's going on? You're like, what is happening? You're like, why are these pirates so obsessed with this?
The introduction of the movie is so gorgeous because it starts with the great voice actor that did Frollo, that did Shere Khan. Yes. It starts by immersing you into what Treasure Planet's going to be about.
Show a ship flying over, right?
And like into the Aegean and like this voice. I don't even want to try to imitate, but they basically show you the main pirates that are holding up this treasure, and you think it's going to be about them, but then it zooms out into this boy, which is a protagonist, Jim.
Kid
and he's reading this story, and as a kid, I remember thinking like, I want that type of book. And so, but then it's so cool because when he's there immersing in the story, and even though his mom told him to go to sleep, talking about the animation again, when it splits into him being an adult, you see him on this like windsurfer thing, like, oh, the kid turned out great. Turns out he didn't because he's getting stopped by the cops, and then again it goes into the pacing of where we're at.
He's a troublemaker.
Yeah, it's big time. And then the characters are introduced, which I think their characters are well implemented into the plot.
Definitely.
And at first you're like, okay, well that's cool. We have a rebellious kid. He has a single mom. He has a doctor friend. Like everything's okay, but like you don't really. What I like about this is that it doesn't treat kids as dummies. It like doesn't tell you everything about Jim right from the bat.
Yeah.
It's until he's on the ship, and this story, let's be clear, this story is about a boy becoming a man and learning how to mature in life and become responsible, not just that, but appreciating life and the people around him. And the weirdest part is that the person that teaches him this turns out to eventually be the villain.
Yeah.
Which is the cyborg's name.
Which is Mr. Silver.
Yeah. So he meets Mrs. Silver right on the ship. he's kind of a jerk to him, but he's pushing him and he's pushing him, and we don't know what's going on. But during this montage of Jim becoming a man, there's this one song that we can't keep going until we talk about it real quick. The song is such a great song. It's so deep because basically with this song, they show you why Jim is the way he is. They show you how his dad eventually abandons them. Yeah. You know, typical Disney movie, somebody has to either die or abandon somebody. And so this kid is like rushing out to get his dad. Like, the dad abandons him.
Leaves on a ship.
Yeah,
a pirate ship,
probably. Which is
so
why
that kind of also gives you like a more deeper sense of why Jim has always wanted to be on a ship.
But also the same why he resents pirates.
At the same time, so yeah, it's definitely there's a lot of complex themes and so many great themes.
But the cool thing is, before we like just skip the song, I like there's this line in the song where it says, "I am a question to the world, not an answer to be heard." And when he says it, that's basically what this movie's about. Like Jim is constantly questioning himself, like, who am I? What am I? Trying to fit into this world. And let's go into now the antagonist. He's the one that helps him unintentionally discover who he really is, and he becomes this father figure to him, so that when the plot twist happens, it's very emotional and it's very gut wrenching to the character and even to us, where it's like, wait, what?
That's crazy. Like, I remember as a kid, I was like, that's crazy. He was helping him. He seemed like such a nice guy, and then it turns out he's the villain. He's a bad guy.
So basically, this was a crew that pillaged their little inn and destroyed it looking for the map. And they betray him, but at the same time, you also see the conflict with, what's his name again? Mr.
Silver.
Mr. Silver, because he doesn't want to do this to this kid, but he wants the treasure, and his crew's looking at him like, are you a man? Are you not? You're wussing out.
And there again is the whole lines being broken again. Yes. You know, it's not your typical Disney movie where there is an antagonist, but he's not really an antagonist. Because, I mean, he's not really a bad guy. Like, he's doing a bad thing, but he's not really a bad guy. He's not evil because, like as we said, like as the movie shows you, this guy actually has a heart. He actually cares for Jim. He actually cares for this young boy.
But he's been wanting this treasure
he's like, hey,
for so long.
I want this treasure. Like, you know, so
I got to do whatever it takes.
There's that internal conflict with that character.
And then the ending is beautiful. I know we're kind of rushing it, but it's not that we're rushing. It's just that this is the movie where the characters really carry it. We don't want to spoil so much because we really want you guys to watch it, because I think not a lot of you guys have even seen it. I believe it's on Disney Plus, or maybe it might still be on Netflix. But the ending of it is so cool because after they get betrayed, there's a mutiny, Jim escapes on one of the what's it called, ships, you know, the little sailboats, and they're finally on the island. They're finally there. And when it finally happens, they have to basically choose. Do we sacrifice the treasure? And Mr. Silver finally realizes, and he says, this kid is far more important than this gold. And the conclusion of both arcs is great. This kid that becomes a man, and this man that learns how to love and put others before him.
Cyborg that becomes
actually exactly.
Boom.
So it's amazing. Now the tragic thing about this movie is not the movie itself, but it's Disney and how they screwed over the directors. Just a quick snippet as we begin to conclude.
This is why this movie bombed.
Yes. So these creators, these directors are actually the ones that worked on Ariel. They basically ushered in the Renaissance. They worked on Little Mermaid, Lion King,
mostly all of
and Aladdin, all the great ones. All the great movies you've ever seen, these guys were there. And so these guys actually were trying to make this movie since forever, but Disney kept saying no, 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 no. And then when they finally gave them the green light, they didn't believe in it, and the marketing was horrible. The marketing that I remember as a kid was a freaking spoon in a cereal box. And this is Disney. Disney knows how to market the crap out of a sticker.
I remember.
There was no commercials.
That's the only way I remember the movie.
That's it.
And
it was such a tragedy.
You know how sometimes in cereal boxes there would be toys inside?
Yeah.
They don't do that anymore, I don't think. But back then they were giving away spoons based on the movie. Yeah. And that's the only thing I remember. As far as marketing for this movie.
And the reason why Disney did it, because they were, if you notice, it was these early 2000 movies that they were trying to steer away from 2D animation because they thought it was worthless. But again, most of the movies we talked about in this series, Lilo and Stitch, Emperor's New Groove, Treasure Planet, they were all 2D and they were all great. And,
Yeah.
and they were different. They weren't your princess and your regular. I mean, again, this story isn't about a boy meets girl. It's literally about a boy becomes a man and a cyborg becomes human.
Yeah.
And Disney didn't care for it.
Yeah, and that's why it bombed so hard.
Yeah.
But check it out. Definitely check it out. This is definitely worth a number one spot because of the
You will not regret
story, the themes, the characters. Every single one of them
It's adventure.
complements the story, and it has
everything.
great action. There's great comedy.
Yeah.
The animation is great. I
Yes.
mean, you'll really feel connected with the character,
characters.
with the protagonist, really, and the antagonist too. You
Yeah.
know, so man, what more can we say? I mean, really,
We could keep going, but
we could keep going for days and days, but hey, we have to end it somewhere. So
Please.
it's definitely worth the number one spot. Definitely, because of, I mean, everything that we've said. The characters
Story,
are
the
great.
characters,
Story,
the
characters,
music.
animation, the themes, everything.
Everything.
This movie is definitely not your typical Disney movie at all.
Yes.
At all. It definitely, like I said, it breaks barriers, lines, standards, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you so much for joining us on this journey. It's been a long,
fun. It's
long,
great.
fun journey, definitely. And hopefully one day we get to do this again with another top 10.
And just to let you
different
know,
top 10.
next year we're gonna have an actual, more established studio.
Yeah.
These things are probably gonna
Hopefully.
go away a little bit, but exciting things are coming in 2020 for Studio 146.
Definitely.
Stay tuned.
We're going to try to do our best for you guys, for the fam.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Follow us on Instagram at studio_146.
We're gonna be getting more content out next year, more intentional. So we're excited.
Definitely, yeah. And, well, peace out. Happy New Year. Bye-bye. See you guys till the next time.